So this is my first YouTube video. I thought I'd cover the case of the Godard family because it is truly bizarre, and it doesn't really seem to be that well known, so I thought I'd bring some attention to it. I hope you enjoy. Yves was a 43-year-old doctor and acupuncturist. He had 2 children with his wife, Marie-France, and also 2 from a previous marriage. So Yves was a bit of an interesting character. He had 2 sons from a previous marriage aged 15 and 17. He wasn't particularly close with either of them. He was a doctor, but he developed an interest in alternative medicines such as homeopathy. In 1996, his medical license was suspended for 3 months after he was accused of treating serious medical conditions with newfangled treatment. He also prescribed drugs not permitted in France. He became increasingly interested in hypnosis, spiritual therapies, and even reincarnation. Yves was in debt. He owed the government over 300,000 euros in back taxes. Around this time, Marie-France was said to be severely depressed and stressed out about the current situation. Her diary contains several pages dedicated to her sexual fantasies and her current depression. She starts seeing a sophrologist who specialises in hypnosis to treat her depression. He later tells law enforcement that she made a pass at him at some point, but that he gently declined. I'm not sure whether Yves was aware of this or her diary entries, but if he was, there's a motive, right? Yves had rented the boat on the 17th of August for the dates of September the 1st to the 5th, though he had continued to make medical appointments in this time frame. This is interesting because there doesn't seem to be a reason for why he would book those dates, but also book in appointments at that time. Although it actually turned out that the appointments were not real appointments. When investigators looked through his appointment book, they discovered that the patients listed are either existing patients who didn't actually have an appointment on those dates, or they were just completely made up names. On Monday the 30th of August 1999, Yves saw his patients for the last time at the practice. The next day he cancelled his consultations, put his affairs in order, and took his children fishing. On the 1st of September, they arrived at the port of Saint-Malo. He bought cleaning products, floor cloths, and 2 bottles of whiskey before setting sail on the Nick, a sailing boat. He intended to go on a cruise as far as Perros-Guirec, returning on the 5th of September. 6-year-old Camille and 4-year-old Marius were with him on the boat, but his wife was not. On the 2nd of September, French custom officers stopped and routinely inspected the Nick between Cap de Quay and Cap Frahel. They noticed one of the children sleeping on the boat. One of the officers was intrigued by Godard's behaviour, so checked his story out with the owner of the Nick. There were several sightings of the Nick between the 2nd and the 5th of September in Brehec. A waffle vendor later testified that Godard and his children had bought waffles from her on the 3rd of September. The next day, the Nick was spotted by a pair of walkers in Point de Menard in Plauzec, apparently abandoned. The Nick's dinghy was recovered by a fishing boat on the 5th of September, the day which they were supposed to return to Saint-Malo. In the dinghy were a jacket and a chequebook in Godard's name. An investigation was opened into the disappearance of the family. Yves' van was searched. Traces of blood were found which were later confirmed to be his wife, Marie-France's, who no one had seen since the 31st of August. Doses of morphine were also found in the van. On the 8th of September, the Godard family home was searched. They found a note signed by Yves and Marie, stating they'd be back in a few days, though I'm not sure who the note was for. A significant amount of blood was found in the bathroom, the living room, and the parents' bedroom, on mattresses and the walls. It looked to have been hastily cleaned up. On the 10th of September, a murder investigation was opened. Yves was the prime suspect. On the 16th of September, amateur sailors discovered a lifeboat belonging to the Nick. A week later, on the 23rd, the inflatable survival raft of the Nick was discovered half deflated on a beach in Dorset, England. The raft's canvas canopy had been cut off and was missing. According to experts, it was impossible for these items to arrive at these locations by ocean current alone. This indicates that they were scattered deliberately. On the 14th of October 1999, a hotel owner in the Isle of Man claimed that Yves and his children had stayed at his hotel between the 7th and the 14th of September. Later witness sightings placed them in various locations all around the world, including Scotland, South Africa and Miami. 4 months after the disappearance of the Godard family, a canvas bag turned up in a fisherman's trawling net off the coast of the Île des Bats. It contained numerous items belonging to all members of the family, including clothes, driving licenses, insurance documents, checkbooks, the entire contents of Marie France's handbag, and there were also binoculars and a hammer. On the 5th of June 2000, a seashell harvester's boats cast nets which caught a fragment of a human skull. And they actually threw that fragment back in the ocean. I'm not sure if they didn't know that it was human, or I'm not sure why you do that really. About 4 hours later, they found another skull, which was a whole skull. It was later determined that this was the skull of 6-year-old Camille, Eve's daughter. It was determined that the skull had been at its location since at least February 2000. The area was searched, but there were no signs of the nick. On the 11th of February 2001, Eve's business card was found on a beach off the coast of San Jacques de la Mer. 11 days later, a bank card belonging to Eve was found on that same beach. In May, walkers found a credit card on the same beach belonging to Eve. The beach was searched thoroughly, but there were no signs of the nick. On June the 3rd, a diver found yet another credit card belonging to Eve just off the beach. Investigators believed Eve had emptied his wallet at this location. On the 31st of July, a 5th credit card was found on the beach. All the cards were analysed, and experts determined that they had not been in the water long before being discovered. They were likely discarded one by one into the water in early 2001. Investigators believe this was the work of an accomplice who wanted to make it seem like the deaths were an accident. Skip forward to the 13th of September 2006. A femur and a tibia, which are leg bones, belonging to Eve, were found on the seabed of Herd's Deep. The area was searched, but the boat was not found. On the 14th of December 2008, a plastic insurance card belonging to Eve was found on the beach of Chapelle in perfect condition. So if, like me, you're not from France and have no idea where all these places are, here's a map showing all the locations mentioned. According to Google Maps, the distance between Saint-Malo, where the family set off from, and Dorset, where the survival raft is found, is around 200 miles. This is a really long way for it to just drift with the ocean current, especially considering that it could not stay inflated for more than 72 hours without the device that keeps it inflated, which had been removed. Aside from blood found in the family home and van, no trace of Marie France has ever been found despite extensive searches. On the 14th of September 2012, the case was closed. No one has any idea what happened to the family. It was simply stated that the only theory that can be ruled out is a sailing accident. On the 31st of January 2018, a small skull was found on a beach in Brittany. Many people thought it might belong to Marius, though DNA testing ruled this out. No bones belonging to Marius have ever been found, though he is sadly presumed dead. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the theories. The most prominent theory seems to be the murder-suicide theory, of course suggesting that Eve killed his wife and his children and then proceeded to kill himself. It kind of does seem like the most likely theory, and the cleaning supplies he bought before they set sail would seem to indicate that, well, of course he wanted to clean something, but it doesn't necessarily explain the items being found in so many different areas so far apart. It has been suggested that the items could have been left by one of the children as kind of like a breadcrumb trail. I'm not sure if kids that age would think to do with that really, but if so, then that's quite an interesting idea. Some people even believe that Eve is not actually dead, that he just cut his own leg off. It was only leg bones that were found, it wasn't a whole body or a skull, or so it has been suggested that he might have just cut his own leg off, and it does seem an out there idea, but I guess he was a doctor. If anyone could have succeeded with that, it probably would have been him. although I would imagine he'd probably need assistance with that because I think you would risk going through one of the main arteries. So yeah, of course people would suggest that he'd faked his own death after he'd killed his wife and kids, so people thought he was dead and they wouldn't come looking for him. Another theory, which I think is actually kind of plausible, I mean, it sounds crazy when you first mention it, but there was a book published in 2011 that theorised that the disappearance had something to do with financial issues. And of course we do know that Eve was in debt, quite a significant debt with the government. But this book theorised that the mafia actually was involved in his disappearance. They potentially framed him for his wife and children's death and then killed him as well. The book highlighted several murders of people affiliated with the French trade union, which Eve was an active member of. So the theory could suggest that the mafia was actually responsible for his wife's death. So he took his children and attempted to disappear to escape them, you know, maybe leaving cards and other items in various locations to throw them off the scent. But it could be argued that in hindsight this was a little bit more of a breadcrumb trail than to throw them off. So the final and probably craziest theory, and this one's giving me Gone Girl vibes, Marie France faked her own disappearance and framed Eve for it. So there's not really much evidence to suggest this, but of course the body of Marie has never been found, which isn't necessarily too suspicious because there's a lot of places to hide a body, and unfortunately a lot of murder victims don't get found. Due to the amount of blood that there sounded to be, it does sound like she probably is dead, unfortunately. But that's an interesting theory nonetheless. I personally think Eve almost certainly killed his wife. I'm not really sure what happened from there though. Apparently him and his wife had quite a big argument on the night that she was last seen by anyone else, which could have maybe led into him killing her in a fit of rage potentially. If he was going to kill his kids though, I'm not really... I don't know, it seems a little bit odd to kill your wife in a fit of rage and then just kind of randomly kill your kids, so I'm not really too sure about that one. You know, what happened from there, but maybe something else entirely happened. Maybe it was just kind of a series of unfortunate events, so to speak. Maybe he just intended on running away with his children and not them dying. But yeah, I'm honestly not too sure. Like every theory that you can think of, there seems to be evidence for and against, so it's quite hard to say. It's probably truly one of the most bizarre cases I've ever heard of in my life. But yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed my first video, and thank you for watching.